Well, you're still watching the show. This is the Rise 360.
Our guest on the show today is one entertainer that needs no introduction. He played the character of Stanley, a rich kid who, out of boredom, moved to Ajegunle to join a robbery gang in the 1996 Chico Ejiro classic, Silent Night. Since then, he has gone to appear in so many classics with an amazing career spanning over 2 decades in the movie industry. With a host of awards and nominations, which includes an Africa Movie Academy Award win and an Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Award nomination. Recently, he's made his directorial debut with Living in Bondage sequel. Joining us to discuss this recent achievement and much more on the show is one of Nigeria's sought-after actors in Nigeria, Ramsey Nouah. Good afternoon, Mr. Nouah.
Afternoon.
I call you legendary Mr. Nouah.
That's so sweet. Splendid.
You're a complete legend. Do you know that?
Well, I think it's in the eye of the beholder, like they say.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call myself that. There are so many of my colleagues that I would call a legend.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say that you are a bona fide sex symbol in the Nigerian movie industry. Yeah. No, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Mr. Nouah, come on. We're not calling for any false modesty here in our studio. We're calling for honesty. Honesty, no. Let's be authentic to ourselves.
Am I being put on the spot here?
Well, because you are on the spot. We are here to interview and talk to you about so many amazing things. So
yeah, let's start with your directorial debut, Living in Bondage. Everyone knows that was the first hit for Nollywood, right?
True, very true.
Tell us, why did you decide to make this film?
You know, myself and my partner, Charles Okweleke, that's Play Network, the guy that owns Play Network, he was the one that just called my attention to it and said, like, you know what, if we did a remake of Living in Bondage, it's going to be a great hit, don't you think? And I gave it a thought. I'm like, yeah, that's true. You know, I mean, and I was like, because that one is like on the go, like you just snap the finger and he wants to get the job done. So let's do this. And then we just took a flight straight to Owerri to go and look for the original producer of Living in Bondage, Kenneth Neboy.
Yes.
And then we got the rights, and then it's been in the offing for quite a while. Been cooking and trying to make it work for the past 3 years or more.
You've been in the kitchen, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty tough trying to redo or remake a classic from 2001. And then you're about to release in 2019. Yeah, so do the math, like 27 years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I can tell you one thing for a fact, that demography of those who actually watched Living in Bondage at the time hardly go to cinemas anymore these days.
Yeah.
No.
So now, how do you then bridge the gap in the storytelling? So that was one of the drawbacks for us. It took us a while to...
Now, I've got some very interesting questions for you, because I know this might be your directorial debut, but, you know, this is something that's been in, it's been in the works for a while. But before we do that, we're going to have a little look at what's been going on behind the scenes at the,
That's right.
the sequel. Living in Bondage sequel. Let's take a look, guys.
At first, when I saw the script, Living in Bondage 2, I was a little curious to know if it would stand up to the first one, which had a very good story and which made such a huge impact.
If you sell your soul to the devil, who comes after everything, including lineage.
Entertaining as well. It was very well written, lots of suspense, which is good for any story.
Tell Daddy to move. It should be a bit faster. That's too slow.
Wrong title, because literally Living in Bondage just started on the whole Nollywood thing. So
Don't hold the walkie-talkie down anymore. I can hear you from my head camera.
expect the unexpected.
And action!
There you have it. That was exclusive behind-the-scenes footage of the Living in Bondage sequel.
I just got goosebumps seeing Kenneth Okonkwo in that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, so is it all actors that are going to be in the film? Is it the same
Well,
cast
predominantly
that
the
you're
actors.
using?
You know, there were some of them that characters were killed in the original, and we couldn't bring them back. But those that were still very much strong and alive then, we brought them back. Kenneth Okonkwo, the lead actor, Kanayo, but Manuel Doku, Yeah, a few of them.
I'm absolutely shameless. I was just watching that BTS, and all I could say was, "Oh shit, director!" I loved it. Because we're seeing you in a completely different light.
Yes.
Obviously you started off as an actor. I became familiar with your work, Dangerous Twins. That's when I actually learned about the Nollywood bad boy they call Ramsey Nouah. Honestly, it was amazing. I was stuck in Atlanta, and literally, my sister put it in, and I was like, 1, 2, 3. The storyline was just, it was interesting, but really, you were the focus. And we realized that we had this man that had this, this magnetic aura, this talent, and I guess a way with the camera. You knew your way around the set. So from then, as the bad boy actor, we're now seeing a completely different side to you. Now you're being a director. Now, what was the journey like? How did you make the transition from being someone who's a leading man to saying, you know what, I think I want to step away and go behind the scenes and actually see my vision and see how it plays out? Because there's two completely different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I totally must agree. It was quite tough, actually, to take a baton of a movie that we shot 27 years ago and try to remake it. It's a huge workload, trust me. And in this job, I'm not just actually directing, I'm also acting, I'm co-producing. Alongside one of the biggest directors in Nigeria, he's the head director. He's taking care of making sure that I don't go wrong. Steve Gukas.
Wow. Yeah,
who did 93 Days and Place in the Stars and those kind of movies. So he's quite a renowned, grounded filmmaker too. So he's producing alongside Play Network.
Wow.
So I'm directing. So I have this umbrella of people covering me, making it a bit easy because it's not really that easy to
What's been the most challenging thing for you?
Just wanting to get it right.
Okay, but why did it take you so long to actually know that this is what you want to do? And why? I know that you've always wanted to direct.
I've always had a flair for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did it take you so long? And why was it this particular film that made you start?
It's actually more challenging if you look at it very closely. Like I said, it's a movie that we took back all the way from 1991 till date. So it's like, I wanted something that would really challenge me rather than the regular, rather than something easy. And
of course.
I always tell people we can make it happen. We can do these things. It's not like it's out of reach or it's impossible. Also, I want a situation where when you look back at the industry, it's almost like all our stories have become saturated.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? It's just being recycled. So then if we're going to recycle them, if we're going to pick some movies, which one would we pick? So I went back and I decided, okay, why don't we start from the very beginning?
The very beginning. Oh, wow.
And then, so if I set that pace and anybody else wants to go into it, they use this as a yardstick. Yeah. You understand me? To do the other ones to come.
All right, let's talk about Nollywood real quick here. Yeah. What do you make of the growth of Nollywood? Is it, as we see now, that it's really diversified? Is it really making headways like everyone's talking about right now?
Well, I think growth for us would not be as, Formula One as you guys can think of, but it's more like it's a gradual process, I think. The advent of cinema has actually helped put the industry in perspective. Also, the support of the government to the industry has also helped and aided a lot. Government has made sure that local contents have been shown in Nigerian movies, almost like mandatory. What we need mostly right now is more of the cinemas around, more of the cinemas to show our content. Because as we speak, cinemas are not much in number, and sometimes content makers like producers have films and they can't show sometimes even till next year.
Of course.
You get what I'm saying?
Now, speaking of the development and the growth, I'm so sorry to interject, but I know we don't have that much time left with you, and you are literally like a legend. You're, a well of information, and so I do really have to ask you this question. Early on, we spoke about what's happening in the States. You know what's happening in Hollywood. We have the whole #Me Too movement, Harvey Weinstein. Now, as someone who has been in the industry, you're very respected. I've heard amazing things about you from all your female co-stars. My sister was actually in a movie with you a few years back, actually, and she said very amazing things about you. Now, for someone like you, what do you have to say about what's happening right now? Because the truth is, it's very relatable. I have a lot of actor friends, and they say that they get asked to do some unpleasant things for movie roles. Now, for someone who's inside the industry, what are your thoughts on this kind of behaviour? And most importantly, what are your thoughts on the perpetrators of this behaviour?
I wish so much that I could I was given the whip and called me the whip master, I probably would do something really drastic. I am
like
not
the Harry
one.
Potter one.
Yeah, you know, well, not the Harry Potter one. Well, Harry Potter would just make him disappear. You know, you disappear and all that. But for me,
I like Koboko said.
exactly, that's what I'm talking about, whip master. But it's quite sad that that we find people all around, not just my industry, but all around, using whatever opportunity to get to exploit people in different ways. It happens in my industry, likewise in virtually every other industry. And if given the opportunity, yeah, of course, if certain structures were in place, these people won't get away with it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
Of course, they shouldn't get away with it.
In any ways, they shouldn't. So I dislike the fact that we find some miscreants who come into the industry, because my industry is quite embracing. It's open. You come in and say you're a filmmaker, you get some finance and everything, and you're shooting a movie.
Of course.
Whether we're professionals or not. That's the lack of structure that we have. Because if you have structure, for you to call yourself a producer, a director, or an actor, you should be in the guilds. An umbrella guilds that can actually carry out certain laws and things to make these things happen, to execute them if you falter. But unfortunately,
Ramsey,
I can see that we have very little more time to go. So
honestly, it's been wonderful talking to you.
We have to have him come back.
No, you definitely have to come back. We need like a whole Arise 360 dedicated. We'll call it the Nollywood Bad Boy Edition. I can see it.
Really?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Nouah, and I wish you all the best with Living in Bondage.
Living in Bondage, the sequel. Now that's all on the show today. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch us every day at 4 p.m. right here on the Arise News channel. So until tomorrow, this has been
Arise 360. Goodbye.
I'm Mercy Ajishafe.
And I am Ojy.
Take care. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.